Now, on Worst Take, we go around the NBA podcast via the media landscape, and we react to sound bites about the New York Knicks, and we get your reaction to it. So on this episode of Worst Take, ESPN's own Rick DiPietro and Dave Rothenberg had this to say about head coach Tom Thibodeau and as the Knicks head into the playoffs. So I'm going to play this soundbite, and then I want to get your reaction to it. Here we go. Here we go.
I would like to see this play out a little bit. However, if you have a bad postseason, it will not look the same next year. And if you have a really bad postseason, it's really not going to look the same next year.
I think there is that chance, yeah.
I mean, you tell me, if the Knicks lose to Detroit or Milwaukee, whoever, is the coach back next year?
If they lose in the first round, I have a...
There's no way he's back. There's no way he's back next season.
Probably not. I hate that.
Hate it or not, there's no way he's back next year if they lose in the first round. I would like to see...
Your thoughts, Kristian Winfield.
That's tough.
Is he back or is he fired?
First and foremost, I think you could say that about any coach that's coaching a 50-win team, right? And there's a precedent for this, right? There's, Mark Jackson took the Golden State Warriors so far. They switched a head coach out, even though he's having successful seasons. You've got what happened with Cleveland, right? Cleveland hit a plateau with J.B. Bickerstaff. They bring in Kenny Atkinson. Now he's changed the vibes. You got even Boston. They only got so far with Brad Stevens. It just happens to be Joe Mazzulla, right? And then on top of that, when a team underperforms, obviously the first person that you're looking at is the coach. It happens every day. That being said, this is a team, I always think back to this. Last year, Game 7, Indiana Pacers, Knicks lose, Jalen Brunson at the press conference. I asked him, is this a successful season? He said, no. I'm like, why? We made the second round last year. So that's not a success. So if you're telling me 2 years in a row, you don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's not a success. Then what happens if you get bumped in the first round, right? That's got to be even more of a drastic disappointment than coming up short against the same team again. So it's a fair argument point to make because it's underperforming if you lose in the first round, right? That's for everything that you did to put this team together. To lose in the first round, it's tough. And then on top of that, like we already said, normally the first domino to fall is going to be the coach. But at the same time, when you consider everything that Tom Thibodeau has been able to do during his time here, and you consider just how this team has been able to fight, and the fact that you have Jalen Brunson coming back at the end of the season trying to figure out chemistry with all these guys, first round, it's a tough sell because a first round is, I don't think anyone could see this team losing in the first round and keeping anything the same, right? Something would have to change. That being said, is it the coach? Is it a trade? Is it the players? It kind of depends on how the series plays out. Do guys get hurt again? Do guys just fall short? Does Detroit bully them? What does it look like, right? So we'll see. But at the end of the day, I think Tibs has done such a good job so far that it's got to be the most impossible decision to try to fire him. And that's the thing. First round, man. First round is tough. But at the same time, I don't think any of us are looking at this first round series like the Knicks don't have a shot to win this thing. I think no matter who they play, sure, you're looking at the 1-2 record against Detroit, but you didn't have Mitch for those games. Right. And you have OG playing at a different level, right? And if you get Milwaukee, I think the Knicks have had Milwaukee's number all year to the point where Doc Rivers couldn't even explain it. So, sure, if you want to say, do you fire your head coach if you come up short in the first round, you could say that for 10 teams in the NBA right now. Would the Knicks happen to be one of them? Maybe. That being said, I don't think that's what's on the table. I think what's on the table is the Knicks prove who they are in the first round. In the second round, that's where you run into Boston. That's where you see what the difference might be between good and not good enough, right? Like this, you have to get over the hump. So yeah, well, I think that's an extreme take though. Like that means are you preying on the Knicks to lose in the first round? I don't know.
It's an extreme take, man. No offense to those guys. I mean, DiPietro, he's a hockey goalie. Like what does he know about the Knicks, man? My man spent his majority of his career robbing the Islanders of millions of dollars, and now he's jumping into the sports talk. Stick to the hockey, man. Talk about Ovechkin because you could hear him in his response. He's like, he wasn't too confident in his answer.
That's hilarious.
What I will say is I agree with you in that, yes, the expectations, the pressure is on now for this team to not just get to the second round. This is, they want to win a championship. They are building this team to try to win a championship. And so the pressure is going to be on Tibs to get them there. How will he adjust? How will he handle the rotations? Is he just a regular season coach? Is he just a stepping stone coach like a Mark Jackson was for Golden State and like many other coaches are, right? Where it takes another coach to kind of take him over the top. A lot of people look at Cleveland being in that same scenario, right? Boston, as you mentioned, from Stevens to Missoula. So we've seen a lot of examples of this.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that relationship matters in this whole equation where Thibodeau came in here with Leon Rose, with Worldwide West. They were a trio. We just talked about back-to-back seasons of 50-plus wins. Talk about all the players that we go backwards in this show. OG Anunoby having a career year under Tibs. Isaiah Hartenstein had a career year under Tibs. Brunson, Randall, All-Stars. Quickly, 6th Man of the Year, runner-up. Dante DiVincenzo had a monster year.
Look at what Deuce is doing.
Look at what Deuce is doing. So, you can give the guy a lot of credit for the players that he's developed and setting the culture for this team. And because of that, I believe that, for one, I think it's going to take a monumental collapse for this team to lose in the first round. I think they're too good to lose in the first round. Second round, we'll see what happens. Obviously, they're going to be a big underdog in the second round. If they do lose in that first round, or even if they lose in the second round, I believe the pressure on Tibs is going to be even higher for the following season.
Yeah.
That is when the team will improve the bench. You'll have another contract that you can add. You'll have another draft pick in the second round that you can add. Maybe a younger players, you expect them to step up from Dottier to Kolek to Huckporty, right? You expect Leon Rose to improve this roster within the little means that they have to do so. And when they do that, the pressure will be on the coach to say, okay, now we've gotten you more players, a better bench, a more balanced bench roster. Now we gotta make this move. And
that's something that
go ahead.
That's something that I don't think that we talk about enough is that the front office does an excellent job at reading the room in terms of what this roster needs. When you talk about trading for Derrick Rose, when you talk about trading for Josh Hart, when you talk about trading for OG, when you talk about trading for Bojan and Alec Burks in the middle of the season because they needed that healthy body because everybody was going down last year. Even this year, they had the foresight to know that we were going to lose 3-point guards. So let's go get Delon Wright. Because if you didn't have Delon Wright, I don't know what you would have done with only having Kolek on the roster to play the point guard when all those three guys go down. So I think the trust level in the front office to do what's necessary to get this team in terms of stylistically profiling with some of these teams like Cleveland and Boston, I think the trust level is there for them, right? So regardless of what happens this summer, we know that this is a roster that, was put together in one summer, and now they're trying to figure out how they fit together. And it's kind of like, okay, well, do these pieces mesh and how do they match up against these other teams? Now the front office, it's on them to kind of figure out how to improve on it with the limited means that they got. This CBA is ridiculous. These guys can't even... It's crazy. So, and on top of that, you're right up against the second apron next year. You got Brunson's extension about to kick in soon. You're going to have to pay Bridges and figure that out. So they're not going to have much wiggle room, but this is a front office that knows what they're doing in terms of the cap, in terms of just relationships, in terms of what the roster needs. I have full faith in them figuring it out as well. So we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll see if there are changes to be made in the offseason. We'll see what they do.
And also, a lot of people like to use the analogy of, well, the Bucks got rid of Bud and he was a championship coach. And I look at that a little bit differently in that, yes, similar to Tibbs, he gets a lot of criticism for his lack of adjustments, especially in the playoffs. But the Bucks were the number 1 seed and they lost to the 8th seed in a gentleman's sweep. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got washed by the Miami Heat. It was a little bit different. And who knows what the relationship was between the Edens, the ownership, and Budenholzer. Anything is possible, right? We just saw Luka Doncic just get traded from the Mavericks. So anything's possible. You don't know everything that's working underneath it all. Yeah. But I think they'll give him one more chance to try to right this thing if they should suffer a collapse in the first round or just get completely embarrassed in the second.
Yeah, that's why I say it really depends on what that series looks like, right? Like
Yeah.
if it's a first round series and it goes 7 games and maybe someone gets hurt or is a freak play. Detroit is a good basketball team. If you end up playing against Detroit, Kate Cunningham's having a great year. They've got Malik Beasley's shooting the lights out. You got a lot of guys, but when you just look at the roster on paper, right, and you put those two rosters side by side, Tobias Harris is not OG Anunoby.
No.
Right? Not even close. And if that's both teams, I don't even know what option that would be for them because you have Cade Cunningham and then they kind of spread it out. You've got Jalen Brunson, you've got OG Anunoby, you've got Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. That should win you that series, regardless of what the stylistic matchup is, right? So we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully the Knicks are able to come out of that first round, and it's not over. They still could draw Milwaukee, so we'll see what happens. But I think it depends a lot on what that series looks like. And then on top of that, second round, there's no shame in losing to Boston. Boston is the defending title holder. We know what they're capable of doing. That's why I thought Cleveland might have been a better matchup. But you lose to Boston, even if you sneak one game against Boston, I think it's okay. You tried, right? But at the same time, this isn't a season where you want to try. This is a season where you're trying to outdo yourself from the last 2 years because the Knicks are stuck at this second round wall that they're trying to get through. So it'll sting if they lose to Boston, sure, but there's no shame in that. So we'll see.
Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Leave a comment in the comment section. Is Tibs out of here if the Knicks suffer a first-round upset? Leave it in the comments, man. That was another edition of Worst Take. Kristian Winfield, let the people know where they can find you, man.
Listen, if you can find a New York Daily newspaper in the store near you and go to the sports section on the back, you can find me in there. Obviously, I'm at Chris Splashed on Twitter, on Instagram, but yeah, man, New York Daily News, they gave me this opportunity to step in and cover this team, and it's been a dream come true ever since. So, I'm really grateful for you having me on there, man. I had a great time. And whenever you need me, I'm down.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Thanks again for the time, and we'll look out for the next piece, man. Appreciate you, bro.
My guy, yes, sir. Anytime.
Yes, sir. All right, that was our guy, Kristian Winfield. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Definitely shout out to Kristian for his time. And shout out to one of our sponsors of today's show, and that is at DraftKings. Hey, the men's final is tonight. And when it comes to college basketball, March Mania, one thing is for sure, nothing's for sure. Just ask those Duke Blue Devils. Upsets, buzzer beaters, Cinderella's advancing, top seeds going home early. It's all going to happen. Bet the unexpected every upset every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. And with live betting, exclusive content, promos, and parlays, DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March and now April. If it's your first time, here's something special just for you. Use our code KFTV on the DraftKings Sportsbook app or DraftKings.com. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And that's with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Once again, this is for new customers only, and bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.